Welcome back to another video. This is part one, core beliefs. We're on section three, experience and proof. For this, it is how has my definition of marketing changed after 20 plus years of practice? Now, this is an interesting question because in my early days, I used to think that marketing, direct response marketing, whatever, was purely persuasion based. um, Even to the point where is potential, you know, trickery or convincing somebody to do something that they may not originally have wanted to do at all. As I got into more years of experience, I realized it was less about pure persuasion and more about understanding who you're talking to. One of the first things I always ask people is, do they know who their ideal client is? Their ideal avatar. Most of them will say yes, and they really mean no. And this comes from when they answer me, they will look at their current customers and they'll get some data on them and they'll say my ideal client is, and that's how I know they have it wrong. Your ideal client is somebody that you figure out ahead of time. It's the person you want to advertise to. Now, you may not always know exactly who they are, but there should be a particular person that you're going after that your marketing then attracts into your business. So you're then looking at your customer database as a reflection to see if it matches the original avatar you're going for. So when I first started in marketing, like I said, I thought it was about copywriting and having the right words, right? Convincing messages. And while that is still there, that's not the entire core of it. And then as I got more into it, I thought it was always about knowing your avatar and what drives them, which is also another part of it. And after doing this for 20 plus years, really what it boils down to is that the number of ways you can do something is more or less limited. Now, there's still a lot of them. There's still a lot of ways you can do direct response marketing or marketing in general, but there's almost like a right way and a wrong way to do it. And most of what's taught out there, most of what's talked about, even at the college level, is what I would consider the wrong way. And the way I come to that is just by putting it up against any direct response messaging. So you could take anything that they're throwing out there, whether it's branding or whether it's marketing for marketing's sake or any of that, you can sort of pair it up against a direct response based marketing message and see which one works better, which is testing. And so in the end, I wouldn't say in the end, I've still got more time in this. What I've come to realize is that we test everything. You can't believe your own judgment, not even in the slightest amount. What you think works might, but chances are it won't. And if you aren't willing to understand that you are not your avatar and that you need to put out messages that attract them, not yourself, you're gonna have a hard time. So while it's something that started as just sort of a fancy understanding of, oh, I need to understand these copywriting principles and I need to study the way these sales pages are written so that I can emulate them, changed over time to understanding that while it is about connection, it's also about understanding that if you don't like stick to the guidelines that are set up, you're in for a lot of problems. Um, a lot of people are amazed sometimes about how quickly I can turn a business around, like the one I spoke about earlier, the client who was 2 months from closing the doors to being booked out, and there are many others that I've worked with where clients go from 4 or 5 figures to 6 and 7, and some of the results even blow my mind. And a lot of it has to do with just applying these very basic direct response principles to your marketing and sticking to that regardless of how you feel. And that understanding of marketing as this is the way business is done in order to grow your business with effective marketing, that's sort of where I've ended up after 20 years. There's a lot of fluff and pizzazz and shiny lights that sparkly objects that a lot of gurus out there like to sell you and make it seem like it's this hidden discovery, super secret pathway. And that's just a clever way of getting people to do what you want. It's nothing more than that. And it gets a lot of people. It used to get me a lot too, till I realized that none of it was anything special. And if you're going into marketing thinking that you have to write your message a certain way, or that you have to put together a discount in order to get your people to move, you're sort of missing the mark. It is about all of the things that I sort of learned over time. Yes, persuasive copy is needed. Yes, you need to be able to connect and understand your avatar's pains and problems. And yes, you need to put a compelling offer in front of them, and also test all of the different marketing strategies that are out there to find what works. Because what works yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work today, and what works tomorrow might not be the same thing you do today. But that's a very long-winded answer to how I would explain how the definition of marketing has changed for me over these last 20 plus years of actually doing it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.